The year is 793. On the holy island of Lindisfarne, off the coast of Northumbria, dawn breaks like a blessing. The air is still, carrying only the gentle cries of gulls and the soft chant of morning prayers. Here, in this cradle of English Christianity, God feels close. The monks, cloistered in their stone sanctuary, dedicate their lives to Him, illuminating manuscripts and preserving knowledge in a world slowly emerging from darkness. The sea, their constant companion, is a source of sustenance and a symbol of divine immensity. It is a peaceful, predictable world, guarded by faith. But on the 8th of June, that peace is about to be shattered forever. Out on the horizon, a strange shape appears. Then another, and another. They are not the familiar, tubby fishing boats of the locals. These are long, slender vessels, like predators slicing through the grey water. At their prows, carved dragon heads seem to sniff the air, their painted eyes fixed on the shore. A sudden, cold unease settles over the monastery. The chanting falters. Monks abandon their scripts and prayers, gathering on the shore, their faces a mixture of confusion and dawning apprehension. Who are these strangers? What do they want? The questions hang in the salt-laced air, unanswered, as the longships beach themselves with a terrifying grinding sound. There is no warning, no parley. The men who leap from the boats are not traders or pilgrims. They are giants, clad in leather and mail, their faces framed by wild beards and hardened by the sea. They move with a chilling purpose, a disciplined silence that is far more terrifying than any battle cry. This is not chaos. It is a perfectly executed strike. Axes and swords, honed to a razor's edge, flash in the morning light. The first screams echo across the island, a sound of pure, uncomprehending terror. The monks, men of peace armed only with faith, are cut down where they stand. They had prayed for salvation, but what arrived from the sea was something else entirely. The raiders move through the monastery with brutal efficiency. They are not interested in conversion or conquest in the traditional sense. They are here for wealth. They smash open chests, tearing golden crosses from the walls, ripping jewel-encrusted covers from sacred books. The treasures of Lindisfarne, collected over generations, are scooped up like common trinkets. This is not a battle. It is a harvest. A brutal, swift, and merciless reaping. The Vikings are a force of nature, an ocean storm made flesh, and the monks are driftwood caught in their surge. For those not killed immediately, a worse fate awaits. Shackled, dragged towards the very ships that brought this nightmare to their shores, destined for a life of slavery in a cold, distant land. News of the raid spreads across Europe like a plague. Letters from scholars and kings speak of a horror previously unimaginable. The scholar Alcuin, writing to the king of Northumbria, lamented, "Never before has such a terror appeared in Britain as we have now suffered from a pagan race. The heathens poured out the blood of saints around the altar and trampled on the bodies of saints in the temple of God, like dung in the streets." This wasn't just another pirate attack. This was a desecration. A holy place, a beacon of learning and faith, had been violated by godless men who appeared from nowhere. The psychological impact was catastrophic. The sea, once a barrier and a provider, was now a highway for monsters. Every coastal settlement, every monastery, every town in Britain and beyond suddenly felt vulnerable. Where would they strike next? Who were these Northmen? The attack on Lindisfarne was a statement. It announced the arrival of a new power on the world stage, one that played by no known rules. It shattered the illusion of a divinely protected Christian Europe. If God could not protect His holiest servants on His holiest of islands, then who was safe? No one. This singular event is what historians now mark as the true beginning of the Viking Age. It wasn't the first raid, but it was the one that sent shockwaves through the continent. It demonstrated the Viking method. Lightning-fast raids targeting soft, wealthy locations with overwhelming force, followed by a swift retreat before any organized defense could be mounted. Their longships were technological marvels, capable of crossing open oceans and navigating shallow rivers, giving them unparalleled mobility. They were not just brutish savages, they were master strategists, sailors, and warriors. Lindisfarne was a proof of concept. The wealth plundered from the monastery fueled further expeditions, larger fleets, and more ambitious plans. The success of the raid inspired countless other chieftains and warriors across Scandinavia. The age of exploration, plunder, and conquest had begun. For the next 3 centuries, the dragon-headed longships would become a symbol of terror and change, from the rivers of Russia to the shores of North America. They would sack Paris, besiege Constantinople, and establish kingdoms in England and Normandy. And it all started here, on this small, windswept island. As the smoke cleared over the ruined monastery of Lindisfarne, the survivors were left in a world that no longer made sense. The bodies of their brothers lay among the scattered, desecrated pages of their holy books. The raiders were gone, vanished back into the mists of the sea as quickly as they had come, leaving behind only death, ruin, and a profound, bone-deep fear. The world had changed. Before 793, the sea was a boundary. After Lindisfarne, it was a threat. Europe would never again look at the waves without remembering the dragons that came from the north. The Viking Age had begun, not with a whisper, but with a scream.